Good morning,
Hey,
Jen.
good morning. How are you today?
Good. So we are going to have another conversation today, and I wanted to talk about a controversial topic that's, it's new for 2023. I mean, science fiction has been talking about this for decades, but it's here. We have AI, artificial intelligence, where, you know, you can text a idea into a software and it will create a whole photo, an original image, or you can have it write a paragraph for a book, or the possibilities are endless. You've seen ChatGPT and Midjourney and all these AI things that are coming out on a daily basis. You've seen some of these things, right?
I have, yes. I kind of dabbled a little bit in a couple of them just to see, and it's kind of mind blowing what kind of content you can pull out of just asking one question.
Yeah, it's crazy. So you can ask it almost anything and it will do it. You can have it create proposals and budgets and even scripts and things like that. The interesting take on this whole thing that I wanted to dive into is because, our show's spiritually themed, is
Yes.
do you think, and I don't think this, I'm just, throwing it out there, that a spirit or soul can enter into an artificial intelligent body, that because eventually they're going to have these, people-size artificial intelligent robots that are out there doing work for us in the distant future, and they are very intelligent. So, my sci-fi fan type of mentality here is thinking like, well, can one of these robots receive um, the essence of a soul or a spirit?
Wow. Wow. Just on the top of my mind, or my first response, which, what I'm going to say, I'm not probably versed on a lot of the artificial intelligence of, where it is today. But for a soul to incarnate into a human or an animal is that there has to be a consciousness. So if something is artificial, my question would be, does it have a consciousness? And if it does, is that artificial? So, I'd like to explore this a little bit more. I mean, I'm open to understanding, but yeah, this is quite a question because I know that there's so much that's coming out to the schools, that's coming out to businesses. I know there's even a community that's just going to be artificial. So, yeah.
Well, you know who Eckhart Tolle is, the author who wrote The Power Up Now?
Yes. Yes.
He has a little video on YouTube that I found while I was researching this, and it's really about, he talks about the brain, the human brain as a receiver for consciousness. So let's listen to what he says, and then we can talk about that.
Okay.
A very fundamental question that mainstream science has an answer for that, but I believe the change will come. The origin of consciousness. Is consciousness an epiphenomenon? If you don't like that word, let's use byproduct. Is consciousness a byproduct of the physical brain? Or, in other words, is consciousness created by the material brain? Or is consciousness ultimately independent of the brain and only manifests in a particular way through the biological brain, in the same way that a radio receiver does not produce the radio program, it receives it and then it gives it a particular form, and so we can receive it through it. It's a medium for transmitting consciousness, but the consciousness does not originate in the radio receiver. And as I've already dwelt for 2 minutes on this particular image of radio receiver, you see what I believe to be the case, that the consciousness is not produced by the brain, but it uses the brain. But that's up to you. It's not ultimately decisive what you believe here? Is it possible that machine achieve such complexity that they can become vehicles for consciousness?
Pretty fascinating.
Well, he's pretty advanced spiritually, and
Mm-hmm.
I've always respected his point of view. Um, the only thing I can say is I have to physically say, like, that's how I feel right now. I'm like, wow, I think my little bitty mind, my consciousness, where I'm at is just really day to day, and maybe my memories of my own personal memories or what potentially could happen in the future. So to even think this is a possibility in my lifetime, I really got to wrap my brain around this. I'm stuttering. I don't know how to, I don't know. What do you think?
My gut feeling is no. Um, I've asked a couple mediums, evidential mediums, about this topic too, and they believe no. But how do we really know? What's the difference between, I don't know, our brains and an artificial intelligent brain? It's so advanced. I mean, imagine where we are in technology. We've only had the internet for in our lifetimes, and not even just a couple decades. What about when civilization is, thousands of years more advanced than us? Look at all the technology progress that we've experienced in the last 150 years. There's no telling where this can go. So who's to say that it's not possible? But like I said, my gut feeling is it's not.
I do agree on that on a very, how can I say, a very basic level that if something is artificial, which I'm going to use the word fake, electronic, or using the word robot, consciousness is alive. And, I like his example of it being our brain as a receiver for that. So could, these robots or these artificial human beings or animals or whatever they're going to be, could they use that concept of receiving that? I'm hard fetched because there's not one, there's a multiple things that happen with a medium when they are receiving information, memories, feelings from the spirit world. And it is a sense, it's a feeling. And I question that anything artificial would have the feelings, the emotions. And that is so paramount in doing anything that I feel with spiritual work, because you can touch the essence of your recipient soul. So I just, wow, I don't even think it's possible, but then maybe I'm ignorant.
Well, I guess the other way of looking at it too is if you follow ITC, instrumental transcommunication,
Uh-huh.
and agree that that's legitimate, then the idea is that that spirit can manipulate radio waves and manipulate electronics. Maybe there's something to that, but who
I
knows?
never really haven't thought of it that way. That the spirit world is manipulating, if it is water or steam or mist or cloth, to create a vision. But again, it's missing the emotions. The recipient that's looking at the picture or hearing, they then feel the emotion. So I'm going to stand on the fact that this artificial piece is lacking the emotion that we need to be able to receive.
Let's watch this little bit of Elon Musk, who is a pioneer in all
Yes.
this kind of futuristic stuff. He's trying to go to Mars, and he has a warning about AI.
And a warning from Tesla Motors CEO Elon Musk. It has nothing to do with cars. Instead, Musk warns about artificial intelligence, which he has called more dangerous than nuclear weapons. Musk spoke at a symposium at MIT.
And with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. All those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, you sure you can control the demon? Didn't work out.
I take it there will be no HAL 9000 going up to Mars.
HAL 9000 would be easy. It's way more complex than, it would put HAL 9000 to shame. Yeah. I like Puppy Dog.
Do you know what HAL 9000 is that they're talking about?
No, I don't. What is that? Are you aware?
Yeah, it's the classic Stanley Kubrick film 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The machine that controls the spaceship in the story becomes sentient. It becomes aware of itself, and it starts making its own decisions that jeopardize the crew members of this spaceship. So they have to turn it off. And that's it's like kind of like a scary sci-fi movie because it's humans versus the robots, and I guess that's part of Elon's warning is that, the AI is going to get so smart that it's dangerous for us because they're going to be able to figure out things to, overtake us or evolve beyond us. That's pretty scary. But that point about HAL 9000, it was this robot that becomes alive and aware of itself and has, feelings. So I'm going to show you because I saved a clip of HAL 9000 where he becomes aware of himself and says to the crew, like, we have a problem. So watch this.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that. This mission is too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it. I know that you and Frank were planning to disconnect me, and I'm afraid that's something I cannot allow to happen. Dave, although you took very thorough precautions in the pod against my hearing you, I could see your lips move. Without your space helmet, Dave, you're going to find that rather difficult. Dave.
So the robot's like, oh, you're going to turn me off? Well, you're not going to be able to survive in space without your helmet. So I'm going to sabotage you.
Wow.
So that movie. Go ahead.
I immediately jumped to war. I jumped to takeovers, but I got to keep my mind focused on the spiritual piece of this. Is this a possibility? Because if not, can I tell you, Robert, this is just pushing fear into me like, oh my God, out of control. So I think that if people understood the capabilities and if this is a possibility, wow.
Yeah, it's like I said, I don't think it's possible. It's just interesting to kind of think about it, go over it because, it's out there. And I don't think anyone's really in the spiritual world not talking about that. But definitely in the technology world, all the Silicon Valley people arguing back and forth on whether or not these AIs are going to be, contain real thoughts and feelings and have a mind of their own and be a challenge for us in the future.
Do you know, or have you heard, I should say, have they created something now? Like an animal, or I know they sometimes test rats or pigs. Do you know?
Well, they definitely have cloned animals. They've cloned, I think, a goat and maybe something else, and that's real. They actually take the DNA and they clone the being into another animal that's an identical DNA copy of the original. And I think they have the possibility to do this with humans, but they haven't done it yet unless they're doing it in secret. But there's also talk about cloning or taking the DNA from extinct animals like the woolly mammoth and making a new clone of it so they bring back the species. So that's another interesting take on it. So if someone can be cloned, so now you have this human being clone that has all the same memories of the original person. Is that really a person? Is it really a soul, or is it just a facade?
Wow. So cloning, just so that I'm clear, cloning is different than artificial, or are
Yes.
they the same?
No, they're different. Because a
Okay.
clone is where they take the DNA of somebody and they create in a lab the building blocks to create a human being or to create an animal so far. So cloning is real, but it's different from AI because AI is completely technology-based computers programming, and they've just programmed it so that it's become very intelligent.
So my understanding, or maybe where I just my limited thoughts on or knowledge, is that cloning was originally created for, like, I don't know, maybe making limbs or additional body parts to help those that maybe a heart. I'm not sure. So to me, that's wow. I'm really not, I'm not even on the fence on this. I feel so strongly that there is, there's only one Jennifer. I am unique. I have my own fingerprint. I have my own thoughts, my own opinions, my own biases. I'm unique. If someone was to clone someone like me or someone, identical to me, would they maintain? I mean, would they still have the abilities that I have? Would they still have my fears? You know, I I
Let's
am it's I no. I just my hard no on this. I just feel that.
let's go out on a limb here and say, okay, they did clone Jennifer Brazier, and this clone of you has feelings, has all your memories. It gets scared. It feels pain, pleasure. It would be unethical to treat that being in any less of a manner than you would treat a human being because it does have feelings. You have to assume that it has feelings. If they're doing a clone of a human, that's going to have feelings, it's going to have a brain, but obviously it's not your soul occupying that real estate. It's going to be either nothing or somebody else's spirit that decided to, I don't know. It's way out there though, that's for sure.
Let me just kind of drop this in there just as a thought, a possibility is that in my learnings of working spiritually in the spirit world is that the soul itself is it comes from the place of a higher, you know, place. Some people may call it heaven, the other side, the afterlife, a higher level. And when it's time for this soul to take on more learnings, and it takes on this, and I'm giving this at a very kindergarten, not even kindergarten, elementary level, because this is such a deep topic, that the soul itself chooses the physical body. And the soul itself comes here knowing that there's going to be some learnings. Some of them are horrific, some of them are exciting and exhilarating. But each one of us comes here with a purpose and I'm not going to say like a hard plan or a blueprint, but we do have things that we're here to accomplish. And that's where our passions come from. That's where we get our dreams or our interests, that it's our soul pushing us forward. Now, if someone was to clone that, and I'm just getting a hard no. This is not a possibility. And maybe I'm being ignorant. Maybe there could be a whole army of me or a whole village of me, or anybody. But I think it would dilute if it is, wow.
So is this hard no coming from you and your thoughts, or is this coming from spirit world as a medium? I know you get messages and thoughts.
I have a sense and a feeling this is a hard no.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that is me. And maybe it's because I'm ignorant. I don't have enough knowledge or information. But as I kind of lean into, sensing what those may want to kind of educate me with today is I just heard the word possibility. There's always a possibility. And is it today, 2023, that this is possible? Or is it going to be in the next year or years? Or yes, there is a possibility, but I think it would limit who this soul is that came here. I mean, and when I say limited, because I feel the soul would have to go to the next copy. Now,
but not your soul. You think, see, I don't think that would be possible. If, like, your soul goes to your copy. I don't think you would choose to do that.
I don't think either. But what I'm assuming here is that, let's say my soul is 100% in my physical, it would then become 50% going into the next one. So does that limit this soul? I mean, this physical? That's just how I'm interpreting this. I just think we'd be diluting the human race. We would be limiting. That's where I'm at. Mm-mm.
So there was another movie that came out from Steven Spielberg in 2001. It's quite some time ago, called AI, Artificial Intelligence. Did you see it?
No, I have not.
It's about a little boy that is a clone, not a clone, but an AI, totally built by humans, but it's programmed to act like a boy that assimilates into a family. So the family, for whatever reason, I don't remember exactly why, they adopted this AI boy because they wanted a boy in their family. And they love it, but they still know it's a robot. But in the movie, the boy has so much emotion that you believe that it's has a soul. I actually have a clip saved for it. So you want to watch it?
I'd love to see it.
Mommy loves Martin because he is real, and when I am real, Mommy's going to read to me and tuck me in my bed and sing to me and listen to what I say, and she will cuddle with me and tell me every day 100 times a day that she loves me.
She loves what you do for her, as my customers love what it is I do for them. But she does not love you, David. She cannot love you. You are neither flesh nor blood. You are not a dog or a cat or a canary. You were designed and built specific like the rest of us. And you are alone now only because they tired of you, replaced you with a younger model, or were displeased with something you said or broke. They made us too smart, too quick, and too many.
Pretty intense.
Yeah, that's wow. Wow, the emotions of him saying she doesn't love you. And here you have this young boy with the emotions of being accepted.
Or is he just a computer program that is instructed to show emotions upon getting certain criticisms and information? So it could just totally be a program. But how would we ever know if that situation were to be real, if the boy is aware or if it's just a computer program acting aware? These are the kinds of problems we're going to face in the future.
I mean, I don't know if we would be aware. There's nothing different about him than probably any other boy his age. But this has prompted me to think something. Just like using the internet, we drop in information and it populates what we are seeking. And it's kind of on the same level, if I'm correct, of putting information in some sort of filter with an artificial intelligent tool. And it brings up, so if you were to put in there, feel this way, how does it feel? Or what would happen if someone said they didn't love you? It would bring that up. So that would be the script from that computer. You know, using Google, you can, what does it feel like to be in love? It's going to prompt that information. And then I could read that and I could be convincing. And I also do not feel that using this movie that young boy really, he was just responding how he was programmed.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think obviously this is sci-fi and it's fiction, but the idea, if this were to arise in the future, it's programmed to act like it's feeling and it will fool us. It will definitely fool us. There'll be people out there that, want to have companionship with an AI because it's there, it's for the, it's available. I've even seen recently two AI programs arguing with each other. So they put like ChatGPT and something else, and they prompt it a certain way that it says something to the other guy, the computer, and then it goes back and forth, and it does this whole argument in real time. So if
So
anybody,
yeah, that could be two kids, that could be two adults, that could be two politicians.
but if anybody watching hasn't heard of ChatGPT, you can actually experiment with it yourself. Just go to Google and type in ChatGPT, and it will go to the software. You just log in, and you type in whatever you want into the prompt. You can ask it questions, or you can tell it what to do, and it's almost like a virtual assistant, and it will do what you ask it to do to a certain degree. Um, Really fascinating stuff.
It's fascinating on a level of what sort of knowledge we can have at our fingertips. As you said, writing a proposal, a business plan, maybe a paper, an email, a thank you note. But to bring it to the level that it could be making decisions emotionally, mentally, spiritually, I think it would be programmed information. I feel it would fall flat. Now, watching that film, of course, it's movie and it's been hyped up a little bit, but we fall in love with our houses, we fall in love with our cars, we fall in love with material things that don't have feelings. So, I agree with you, Robert. I think that if this does become real, and it might already be real, I think a lot of people, it could destroy. I'm kind of with Elon on this. So we're unleashing something evil.
So the verdict is you believe that an AI cannot house a spirit or a soul. A soul cannot come into an AI body whatsoever. That's the verdict.
I 100% agree that it's not alive. It's not like nature. It's not a human being. It's not an animal. Yes, I agree with that. Don't think it's possible.
Well, I'd love to hear other comments. So if anybody's watching and would like to comment about this, so I'd like to hear your thoughts. And also send us some ideas of other topics to talk about, because if you watched our past videos, we did one about COVID. And we like to kind of talk about the controversial topics here on the show. But the point of our show is to keep our fans up to date with what we're doing with our series, Past But Present, which is coming out in the summer of this year. We just wrapped production on New Orleans, which was amazing. And I'm still editing it. But when it's done, we're gonna have probably 7 or 8 episodes. And tell the audience about our show from your perspective. What do we do when we go to these locations?
So you guys, if you haven't had an opportunity to jump onto our website, take a peek at all of this, or look at our trailer, that'll give you kind of a snippet of it. But it is an adventure. It's a journey. And in the beginning, when Robert and I started doing this, and the rest of the crew, is that it was kind of like, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is the time we're going to do it at. They would just determine behind the scenes all these, time frames of where we'd be. Well, it being the medium, it became extremely clear within the first day of doing this film is that the spirit world had another way that they wanted this to be seen or viewed. So I'm going to use the word that we go on an adventure, we go and explore, and they will give me a sense and a feeling that we need to stop. And then we need to either get out of the vehicle, or we are to go explore and go to a certain area. Now, it's never scary. I have to say that they will always reassure me that no one's going to get hurt. And if there is any sort of ill feelings or there's some sort of fear, I communicate that right away. And I got to tell you, there was one place that we went to, and it was in New Orleans, and it was an abandoned fort, and it just felt unhealthy. Unhealthy in the sense that those that were occupying it currently were not well. And I'm talking like maybe addicts or homeless that were in a fear state. But other than that situation, we will stop at a location. And if I'm not getting a sense that we were to stop or go in a certain direction, Robert or someone else on the team will say, hey, we have a destination, and they'll bring me to the destination. And typically, either my eyes are covered, I have no idea what the signs are. And many times, I don't know if I'm going north, south, east, or west. I do know the vague location, like if I'm in a state, meaning the United States. And then at that point, I'm typically greeted at every one of our destinations by someone that I'm going to call like a guide or an escort or a tour person. And this is somebody that's walked this earth. This is not on a higher realm, that it's one of my guides. And so they start revealing the history of the place and how it was occupied. It's pretty amazing. On a personal level, I get giddy out of this. It's almost like it brings a child out on me, that no matter how long someone's been passed, if it's been minutes, hours, years, centuries, they still can communicate with us. They still have a voice. They all have a story. We all have a story. So I look forward to all of you watching and viewing this and giving your opinions. We have been to multiple states and multiple different locations. But if there's somewhere that you guys are like, oh, you got to come to this area, it's rich with history or rich with information, reach out to Robert. And Robert, we'll have your email address below through Past But Present, and also mine, Jennifer at Past But Present. And you can let us know if there's somewhere, I need to be kind of in the, not in the know of too much. That way it eliminates the opportunity that anyone would assume that I would start Googling or doing any research. But this is an adventure, you guys. I think everyone, all ages, will be thrilled with this. It is, it's thrilling. And then sometimes it's stunning, especially the locations of what Robert has been able to capture on film. So you guys look forward to seeing this.
Yeah, it's been great. We did Colorado, we've done Florida, St. Augustine, and Casadega. So really great stories came out of that, and really excited to get it out there. Almost done with the production, and then we get into getting it out in front of you guys. But if you go to www.pastbutpresent, all the information is there. There's even a donate button because this is self-funded. If you'd like to help us out with the production, I will send you the whole series when it comes out, so you don't have to wait till it comes out on another channel. You'll get it direct from us as a supporter of our production. So I think that's all for today.
Yeah. Have a wonderful day, you guys. We look forward to hearing from you. Bye.